Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Today, we're diving into the source material you shared about a really interesting figure, Kavi Kalash.
Yes, fascinating sources.
Our goal, really, is to get beyond just the name, the title, poet, and try to understand who he was and why these sources seem to place so much importance on him.
Absolutely. And the sources, they paint this picture of someone quite multifaceted. It's not just literary skill,
Right.
It's this blend of, well, sharp intellect, real loyalty, and based on the accounts, considerable courage.
Okay, let's unpack that based on what we have here.
Mhm.
The sources, they make it clear pretty quickly he wasn't just a poet. Kavi means poet, sure,
Yeah.
but
That they label him a warrior, a diplomat, and maybe most importantly, the chief advisor to Shambhaji Maharaj.
yeah. And it's interesting, isn't it? The sources say his actual birth name isn't, like, definitively known,
Hmm.
but he's remembered as Kavi Kalash because, well, his poetry was apparently brilliant.
And his background, according to these texts, is quite something. They think he was likely born in North India, probably early 1600s.
Yeah.
And they really stress he was deeply learned, a scholar, fluent in Sanskrit, Persian,
Wow.
and knowledgeable not just in poetry and religion, which you might expect, but also politics. This depth seems key.
And that intellect, that knowledge that seems to be what brought him into Shambhaji Maharaj's circle,
Mm.
the Maratha ruler.
That's what the sources suggest, yes. They probably met when Shambhaji was facing some early political struggles, maybe late 1670s, early 1680s.
And he must have made quite an impression.
Yeah.
The sources use phrases like sharp intellect, bold speech, and deep knowledge.
Of religion, politics, and diplomacy.
Exactly.
Which explains why Shambhaji Maharaj apparently gave him such key roles.
Chief advisor, court poet, even spiritual companion. That points to a lot of trust, doesn't it?
A huge amount, both personal trust and, strategic reliance. The sources mention his involvement in really key moments.
Like the coronation, 1681.
Yes, Shambhaji Maharaj's coronation, and advising on important naval campaigns like against the cities and Portuguese around 1682.
So he wasn't just, like, sitting in court writing poems. The sources show him actively involved.
Oh, absolutely. And maybe the most telling part is the sources put him right there with Shambhaji Maharaj during the really intense Mughal-Maratha War.
Right, that period from 1683 to 88.
Yeah, actively helping with planning, with strategy. This wasn't some detached role. He was right in the heart of it all.
And this seems to be where the sources really highlight what made him, well, special. Known as a poet,
Mm-hmm.
but also a patriot,
Mm.
using his words, his poetry, specifically to inspire the soldiers.
Yes, but crucially, the sources are clear. He didn't just write about it.
Wow.
They describe him as a loyal warrior who actually fought alongside Shambhaji Maharaj.
Yeah, combination's
Yeah.
pretty striking. The poet who also picks up a sword.
It is. And then add another layer, the sources present him as a skilled diplomat too, handling court affairs, foreign relations, even theological debates.
It makes you think, just based on these texts, how rare that is. Someone excelling across all these different areas, intellectual, artistic, military, diplomatic.
And that versatility, according to these sources, likely made him indispensable. Which, of course, leads to the end of the story.
His capture and martyrdom.
Right. The sources recount it quite clearly. Arrested near Sangameshwar, 1689.
By Mukarrab Khan, the Mughal commander.
That's the one. But even then, captured under immense pressure, the sources really emphasize his bravery.
He didn't break.
Not at all. Described as fearlessly arguing with Aurangzeb, the emperor himself, even reciting defiant verses, apparently.
Wow.
His refusal, to convert or betray Shambhaji Maharaj, enduring torture, facing execution right alongside him, that's presented as the defining act.
The thing that cemented his legacy.
Exactly, as a symbol of intellectual bravery and just profound loyalty.
So pulling it all together from these sources, Kavi Kalash's legacy is, well, it's complex. Remembered as a remarkable patriot of the Maratha Empire.
A powerful symbol, loyalty, knowledge, courage. The sources consistently paint him as this vital pillar, spiritually and emotionally, for Shambhaji Maharaj.
Yeah, the picture we get from the sources is someone whose contribution was just immense, far beyond that poet title.
A scholar advising on statecraft.
A poet boosting morale.
A diplomat handling relations.
And a warrior who stood his ground.
Right. So, based purely on what these sources tell us, Kavi Kalash emerges as this extraordinary mix: scholar, advisor, warrior, diplomat, poet, all rolled into one.
And they really drive home that exceptional loyalty and the kind of rare power you get when you combine those diverse skills, the sharp mind and the brave fighter, right to the end.
Mm. In his story, especially that final stand with Shambhaji Maharaj,
Yeah.
it does raise a powerful question, doesn't it, about what loyalty and courage truly mean when you're facing just overwhelming odds.
It really does. When you think about the pillars that hold up any leader, any cause, drawing from these sources, what qualities do you think are truly essential? Something to reflect on.